I've been delivering corporate workshops since 2017, and every now and then employees get emotional and cry. But not because they're sad, because they've been able to use the information that I've shared to better their lives, improve their health and well-being, and create a more collaborative and productive working environment. A few weeks ago, I delivered an employee workshop that had this employee crying, and it resulted in her giving me a big hug and her colleagues giving her a big round of applause in appreciation. But before I come into that, it's important for you to understand why employee workshops are beneficial in any working environment. You see, employees are a company's most valuable asset. And companies who don't support their employees have increased staff turnover, lower morale, decreased productivity, and more. When employees feel valued, appreciated, and supported in a workplace, it can have amazing benefits, both for the employees and the business itself. And a few weeks ago, I delivered a wellbeing workshop that left one employee in tears. Here's what happened. I was hired by a multi-award-winning academy to deliver a range of workshops to support their staff to empower, motivate, and inspire their employees. These workshops consisted of harnessing gratitude, creating life-changing habits, men's health awareness, and unleashing motivation. In the Harnessing Gratitude workshop, employees were given the space to show appreciation to one another, and they were also given the tools to create a more grateful outlook on life. This is an extremely heartwarming session, but it's not the workshop that brought tears to the day. The Create Life-Changing Habits brought mind-blowing methods to help employees create and stick to positive, healthy habits. Habits that they want to implement in their lives to make them feel happier and healthier. In fact, one employee showed extreme gratitude towards me when I helped her with a solution to the habit that she'd been trying to break for ages. This employee was extremely frustrated that she was continuously scrolling on social media right before bed. This not only impacted her marriage because her husband didn't appreciate the fact that she was continuously scrolling, but it also impacted her sleep, making her stay up later than she needed to. Then when she woke up in the morning, she was tired. But with a simple adjustment, she had the knowledge to, instead of scrolling at night, pick up a book and start reading. Let's give this lady a name to help you understand better. We'll call her Kim. Kim loved reading books, but her addiction to scrolling was hindering this. And I helped her with a small change that allowed her to get back into reading. See, Kim was making a vital mistake when going to bed with her phone. Kim used her phone as an alarm clock. When she went to bed, she needed to have the phone next to her so that when her alarm went off in the morning, it was right next to her so she could turn it off. But this also meant that Kim was taking her phone to bed with her. So I asked her, why don't you get an alarm clock and leave your phone in a different room when you go to bed? I could see a light bulb had just switched on in Kim's brain. Using an alarm clock meant that she didn't have to use her phone right before bed, and instead pick up a book and read before she went to sleep. There was an additional method that she could use to help her cement this habit of reading her book before she went to bed. I told Kim about the 10-pound method. Now that's a name that I give to it. We could also call it the 5-pound method, or the 100-pound method, or the 1,000-pound method. The number doesn't really matter. Here's how it works. So you can use it too to help you create whatever life-changing habits you want to create. If Kim really wanted to read her book before going to bed and not scroll, she could use the 10-pound method with her partner to keep her accountable. This meant she would have to pay her partner £10 if she went to bed with her phone and started scrolling. This meant that she was being kept accountable. Let me give you an example. When you were a child, did you perhaps touch a hot iron and burn yourself? If you did, you would probably not have done it more than once, because as soon as you touch that hot iron, you get pain, you're burnt. There's a direct consequence for touching that hot thing. And you don't want to experience that pain again. Using the 10-pound method does exactly just that. It creates a consequence. It creates a burn to ensure you stick to the plan and stick to the habit that you want to achieve. Now, when I told Kim about this method, another light bulb went off in her brain, and she said, "Oh, I bet my husband would love this method." And she said this was a great idea that she was going to give a try. But Kim wasn't the employee that cried. Kim was just extremely grateful for the information and knowledge she had received. The employee who cried had a much more inspiring story. Now, there are many ways to create life-changing habits, and I've got a video on it on the channel, so check that out, and maybe I'll leave a link to it up here, wherever it is. But if you found this video useful so far, do me a favor and press the like button to support a small channel like this. Now, I'm not going to tell you about the Men's Health Awareness Workshop. Perhaps I'll save that for another video. But before I come on to the reason I made this employee cry during a workshop, if your workplace want free resources to help support the health and well-being of their employees, join the free mailing list, the link's in the description box. Now, the workshop that made this employee cry is probably a workshop that you'd least expect: Unleashing Motivation. This workshop is designed to help employees find ways to motivate themselves to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. We engage in discussion about what motivation is and discuss thought-provoking questions. For example, can we choose to be motivated? Is motivation a choice? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Now, as we entered into group discussion, we started to talk about our internal motivation, the things that motivate and drive us from within, the things that have deep meaning to us that we can consistently use to help us with our motivation. And during this workshop, to help employees feel a bit more comfortable, I share some of the things that motivate me in my life. This helps others to feel more comfortable to share their experiences and the things that motivate them. But this one brave employee decided to share her motivating story that left the room feeling empowered and inspired. Let's call this lady Michelle. Michelle expressed how she was able to use a tragic life event to help motivate her for a charitable walk that she was doing later on in the year. Michelle had sadly lost her brother to a rare type of cancer, and she was raising money for the charity that supported this rare cancer. And in her words, she didn't want anyone to experience what her and her family went through. And if her fundraising could just help one person, it would all be worth it. She didn't want anyone to go through what her brother did. Now, as Michelle told this story, tears started to stream down her face and she started to cry. But she continued to share how she was able to use this as motivation in her life. Michelle was able to take such a negative experience in her life and use that as fuel to motivate her to fundraise for a charity that was so meaningful to her. This workshop doesn't usually bring tears among employees, but this was a heartwarming moment that brought tears to her eyes, and I'm not ashamed to admit, it even made my eyes water, and I had a little tear in one of my eyes. Now, once Michelle had finished sharing her inspiring story, I went over and gave her a hug and thanked her for sharing her story, and the room gave her a big round of applause. What an incredible lady. Now, to adopt a mindset like this is not easy at all. And to see how those in the workplace can work towards adopting a positive mindset and positive outlook in life, you need to watch this video right here.